Sandringham Estate was long regarded as the royal family's private haven, a peaceful, revered escape shielded from public scrutiny. It stood as a symbol of enduring tradition, holiday celebrations, and fond recollections tied to the late Queen Elizabeth II. However, a recently surfaced black and white photograph from the latest batch of unsealed Jeffrey Epstein documents has raised serious questions about whether this historic Norfolk property was ever involved in more troubling activities. Welcome back to the channel. If you're committed to upholding the monarchy's reputation and uncovering the full facts surrounding the ongoing challenges facing the royal the king news, please consider subscribing and enabling notifications. The details we're exploring today extend beyond one controversial figure. They touch on the broader stability of the institution itself. We're referring, naturally, to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the ex-prince and former Duke of York, who has lost his official roles and titles while still being the sibling of King Charles III. The controversy around Andrew, who has sought a low-profile existence at Royal Lodge, has flared up again with fresh intensity. A new set of files and images from the Epstein case, released by the U.S. Department of Justice in December 2025, includes one particularly striking photo that has sparked widespread reaction across the UK and beyond. The undated image shows Andrew, dressed in formal evening wear, reclining across the laps of 5 seated women elegantly attired, with their faces redacted for privacy. He appears relaxed and smiling. In the background, standing and looking on with a smile, is Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's convicted associate who is currently serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking. Reports, including from Sky News and other outlets, indicate this photo was taken in the saloon room at Sandringham, likely during a gathering around December 2000, possibly linked to Maxwell's birthday celebration that included a shooting weekend hosted by Andrew. Sandringham holds deep significance for the royals. It's their traditional Christmas retreat, the site of the late Queen's annual broadcasts and a place for private family moments. The presence of Maxwell there alongside this informal group pose underscores the level of access Andrew granted to Epstein's circle, something the palace has long sought to downplay as distant or misguided acquaintanceship, often limited to overseas locations. This revelation intensifies scrutiny on Andrew's associations, especially as other images from the same release show him with Epstein and Maxwell at events like Royal Ascot and near Balmoral. While the photo itself depicts a social scene rather than explicit wrongdoing, its setting in such a private royal space has fueled concerns about judgment, proximity to controversial figures, and potential risks to the monarchy's image. The timing adds pressure amid ongoing discussions about Andrew's future, including his residence and finances. Royal observers have noted fears that mounting isolation could lead to difficult decisions, with experts like those quoted in recent media analyses warning King Charles about safeguarding the institution. As always, these developments are based on publicly released documents, and Andrew has consistently denied any involvement in illegal activities related to Epstein. The story continues to evolve with the full implications still unfolding. Perfectly, remarking, and I quote, "I'm thinking that as more and more comes out, he will be more inclined to share details about the royal family and trade secrets for money. This is not mere conjecture, friends. It is a clear acknowledgement of the desperate situation in which Prince Andrew now finds himself. A man once accustomed to a life of extraordinary privilege and protection, now entirely isolated, financially vulnerable, and widely regarded as morally compromised, faces an almost irresistible urge to capitalize on the vast reservoir of an almost irresistible urge to capitalize on the vast reservoir of confidential knowledge he possesses, decades of first-hand insight into the private operations of the monarchy. Consider the delicate balancing act King Charles III is currently navigating. He has rightly acted to safeguard the institution by removing his younger brother from public duties. Andrew is no longer allowed to use the style of His Royal Highness in any official context. He has been deprived of his cherished military appointments and royal patronages. A profound blow to someone who took great pride in his service record. In practical terms, he's been rendered a non-entity within the official machinery of the monarchy. Yet, as royal correspondent Cameron Walker shrewdly observed, Andrew's position is fundamentally unlike that of any other disgraced public figure. Walker explained this distinctive and perilous status. Although his titles and roles have been stripped away, he remains the king's brother and, by many accounts, the late Queen Elizabeth II's favorite son. This is the inescapable dilemma for Charles. Andrew is still family blood ties that cannot be severed. He remains, in the terminology of royal watchers, in the firm, with access to private family dynamics, confidential conversations, and sensitive historical details that, if disclosed, could inflict lasting damage on the monarchy's reputation, especially at a moment when the institution is already under fierce scrutiny over its relevance, expense, and passed out. Walker then issued a sobering caution that captures the royal family's deepest concern, the risk that financial desperation could drive betrayal. He pointed out that the real danger for the king and the monarchy lies in completely abandoning Andrew, cutting off all financial assistance and housing support. Without any means of support, Andrew would have to find income somewhere. This observation exposes the strategic bind. If Charles fully withdraws financial and residential support, particularly evicting Andrew from the expansive 30-room royal lodge, he might inadvertently create the very threat he is trying to neutralize. A penniless, bitterly resentful former royal in possession of a treasure trove of secrets could pose the greatest existential risk to the monarchy since the 1936 abdication crisis. Sheer scope of what Andrew knows is staggering. As the son of Britain's longest-reigning monarch, he was present for decades of pivotal events, private discussions on policy, and candid family exchanges. He is aware of many hidden truths, figurative skeletons in the closet, and perhaps even some more literal ones within royal history. Should he ever choose to write a tell-all memoir, give lucrative interviews to a major broadcaster, or quietly sell information to tabloids, or, in an extreme but not inconceivable scenario, to foreign entities, the consequences would dwarf the impact of Prince Harry's recent disclosures. The potential revelations are profound. Details of crown finances, the late Queen's private views on political leaders, embarrassing episodes involving other family members, and most urgently further information about Andrew's own connections to the Jeffrey Epstein circle that the palace has labored to contain. Finally, let us reflect on the troubling significance of the new photograph reportedly taken at Sandringham. Sandringham is traditionally seen as a haven of timeless tradition and family unity, the place where the royals gather each Christmas, symbolizing continuity and stability. To imply that Ghislaine Maxwell, a convicted figure, was once a guest there, socializing with the Queen's son in such an intimate setting, fatally undermines the sanctity of the monarchy's private world. The royal family has long maintained that Epstein and Maxwell were mere peripheral acquaintances who briefly entered Andrew's orbit through misjudgment, never penetrating the heart of the institution. If evidence emerges that Maxwell was welcomed at Sandringham, one of the family's most guarded residences, that defense falls apart completely. It would suggest Andrew's association was not simply an error of judgment, but something far more entrenched. Prince Andrew's association with Jeffrey Epstein was not a fleeting error, but a deeply embedded aspect of his existence, one he openly introduced into the core of the royal family. This explains the intense focus on the ongoing dispute over Royal Lodge. For more than a year, King Charles III has been trying politely yet persistently to convince his brother to leave the property. Royal Lodge, an impressive residence within Windsor Great Park, has served as Andrew's home since 2003 under a lengthy lease. However, the upkeep expenses are enormous, running into millions of pounds. Charles recognizes that forcibly removing his brother could spark a major public relations crisis and, worse, provoke Andrew's ultimate retaliation, disclosing sensitive royal secrets. As a result, the king finds himself in a predicament largely created by Andrew's actions. He is compelled to provide a degree of ongoing financial aid and preserve a semblance of respectability for his brother to ensure he remains silent and under control. Yet every pound directed toward Andrew requires justification to the royal, the king public, who are understandably outraged that an individual who reportedly paid a multi-million-pound settlement to Virginia Giuffria, payment that included no admission of liability but unmistakably signaled serious wrongdoing, still enjoys a heavily subsidized lifestyle. The appearance is appalling. a disgraced duke deprived of his royal patronages and military titles, continues to occupy a vast estate whose maintenance burdens the crown significantly. Asterisk. Amid a severe cost of living crisis affecting millions in the UK, the emergence of this new photograph purportedly connecting Andrew to Ghislaine Maxwell at Sandringham further entrenches public anger and renders Charles's position almost impossible. How can the monarch rationally defend allocating millions to support a brother whose troubling history keeps resurfacing with ever more incriminating details? To fully grasp Andrew's present vulnerability, it is worth reviewing the key stages of his dramatic downfall. For many years, Prince Andrew was regarded as Queen Elizabeth II's favorite son, a charismatic Falklands war veteran and the Duke of York. Despite his notoriously troubled marriage to Sarah Ferguson, he held a prominent role within the royal institution. He served as the UK's special representative for international trade and investment, a position that brought him into close contact with influential global figures, including faithfully wealthy individuals such as Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew's connection with Epstein began in the late 1990s. He consistently maintained that he had no knowledge of Epstein's crimes, even following the financier's 2008 conviction. The notorious 2010 image of Andrew walking casually with Epstein in New York Central Park while after Epstein had become a registered sex offender marked the first serious blow to his reputation. The first serious blow to his reputation. Real turning point, however, came in November 2019 with his BBC Newsnight interview conducted by Emily Maitlis, meant to restore his image, and instead became a monumental public relations disaster. Andrew's answers struck viewers as detached, evasive, and profoundly lacking in compassion. He famously denied sweating during an alleged incident due to a medical condition from his Falklands service, a claim widely seen as odd and unconvincing. He offered no remorse or sympathy toward Epstein's victims, regretting only his decision to continue the association. The backlash was swift and overwhelming. Companies and organizations quickly distanced themselves from him, and the pressure mounted to the point that Queen Elizabeth II had to step in. In early 2020, Andrew withdrew permanently from public duties. The situation worsened with the civil lawsuit brought by Virginia Giuffre, who accused Epstein of trafficking her and forcing her into sexual encounters with Andrew when she was underage. Though Andrew strongly rejected the claims, the threat of a high-profile trial loomed large. In January 2022, to avert such an outcome, which would have been catastrophic for the monarchy, he was permanently relieved of his military affiliations and the right to use His Royal Highness in an official capacity. In February 2022, he agreed to an out-of-court settlement with Giuffre for a sum believed to be around £12 million. While this avoided cross-examination in court, it failed to dispel widespread public belief in his culpability. Questions immediately arose about the source of the funds, whether paid solely by Andrew or supplemented from the Queen's private resource, adding to the sense of opacity and resentment. It is within this context of financial ruin, public disgrace, and total isolation from real life that the recent photograph and the stark assessments from commentators must be understood. Prince Andrew is now a figure under immense pressure, having forfeited his career, his standing, and his future within the institution. Reputation. The sole asset he still possesses is his unparalleled insight into the private history of the House of Windsor. The ongoing dispute over Royal Lodge vividly demonstrates the king's urgent need to contain his brother's unpredictable behavior. Charles is said to have proposed more modest and affordable alternatives, such as Frogmore Cottage, previously occupied by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, which would be far cheaper to maintain. The message is unmistakable: scale back, cut cost, and enable the king to lower the financial support drawn from the crown estate. Yet Andrew has shown extraordinary defiance. He regards Royal Lodge as his rightful home, a secure refuge from public scrutiny. His determination to stay is more than mere obstinacy, it is a form of leverage. By remaining intransigent and financially strained, he keeps the establishment on edge. Each new document released from the Epstein case, each fresh witness statement, intensifies the pressure on King Charles to take firm action. However, taking the ultimate step, completely severing financial ties, is exactly what experts fear could trigger a catastrophic response. Commentator Cameron Walker's observation that Andrew remained the late Queen's favorite son even after her passing holds considerable significance. This legacy implies Andrew enjoyed exceptional protection and leniency under his mother's rule. He may genuinely believe that Charles's tough stance dishonors their mother's wishes, fueling a sense of betrayal that could justify, in his mind, disclosing family secrets. Picture the scene. Andrew, burdened by escalating debts and an irreparably damaged reputation, isolated in the echoing halls of Royal Lodge. A lucrative offer arrives, perhaps from an American broadcaster or publisher, dangling millions for his candid account of life inside the monarchy. To a man who feels he has lost everything, such a deal represents not just salvation but retribution against the institution he sees as having deserted him. Recently surfaced Sandringham photographs showing Ghislaine Maxwell beaming alongside the family is a stark warning that the scandal remains alive and uncontained. It is an open wound that keeps yielding damaging material, endangering the monarchy's image with every fresh disclosure. Public confidence in the royal family, especially among older generations who cherish tradition and propriety, is particularly vulnerable here. They demand impeccable moral standards from the monarch's close relatives. The contrast between Andrew's continued comfortable lifestyle funded by the crown and evidence of his past misconduct erodes the respect on which the institution depends. King Charles III thus faces an immense challenge in limiting the fallout. He must neutralize the threat posed by his brother without seeming to condone wrongdoing, balancing perceptions of compassion with the need to uphold institutional integrity. One frequently suggested approach among royal observers is a discreet private arrangement, a substantial one-off payment in return for Andrew agreeing to a comprehensive, legally binding non-disclosure agreement covering all his knowledge of the family. This would be an expensive and ethically questionable measure, essentially purchasing silence, but it could be the most effective way to prevent a devastating expose. Even so, an NDA's strength depends on enforcement, and Andrew has already shown a tendency for poor judgment. Any breach would spark a legal firestorm far worse than the original danger. The release of this latest image, reportedly taken at Sandringham, dramatically alters the landscape. It shifts the scandal from Andrew's personal missteps to the heart of the monarchy's historic and symbolic sanctuary. It raises uncomfortable questions about what the royal household knew and when regarding Andrew's risky connections. Ghislaine Maxwell's cheerful presence in what should be the family's private retreat symbolizes how deeply unsavory influences penetrated the royal circle. It underscores how dangerously intertwined Andrew's private conduct became with his official role. Often at the most cherished family venues, the mounting revelations now place intense pressure on Charles to reach a definitive resolution about Royal Lodge. If Andrew persists in refusing to leave, and more compromising images continue to appear, the king may soon have to decide between protecting the crown's long-term finances and diverting the immediate peril posed by his brother. Asterisk in this explosive expose from his brother to capture the harsh truth. Prince Andrew has shifted from being merely a fallen member of the royal family to something akin to a volatile explosive device, loaded with 40 years of confidential royal details. The recently released photo showing him in an incriminating scenario alongside Maxwell acts as the trigger. The monarch's choices regarding Andrew's residence and funding are the sole elements keeping the mechanism stable right now. The risks are immense. The endurance of the monarchy in today's world depends significantly on upholding an image of flawless behavior and propriety. Andrew's behavior and the confidential information he possesses could completely dismantle that image. What is your perspective on this extraordinary circumstance? Dear audience, do you think King Charles III ought to fully sever ties with Prince Andrew, potentially unleashing harmful family revelations? Or should he persist in supporting his brother's opulent lifestyle to ensure discretion? Should UK taxpayers keep financing the management of this organizational risk? Kindly post your views in the comments section. We review each of your insightful inputs. Thanks for tuning in to this in-depth exploration of the persistent turmoil affecting the House of Windsor. If this breakdown struck you as engaging and enlightening, Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and distribute it among those who appreciate honest insights into the royals. We'll keep a close eye on developments as additional information from the Epstein documents surely surfaces. See you soon, stay well, and let the facts triumph. 29,083 characters. It was intended as the family's haven, a serene, revered escape distant from the world's intrusive gaze. A site linked to customs, holiday reunions, and the departed queen's fondest recollections. However, a disturbing fresh picture extracted from the shadowy recesses of the notorious Epstein records has recently implied that this hallowed terrain, the vast historic property of Sandringham, might have served a much darker purpose. Greetings and welcome back to our channel. Dear audience, if you cherish the monarchy's honor and desire the raw facts about the unmatched predicament confronting the royal the king news, kindly subscribe now and activate notifications, for the disclosures we're about to examine today extend beyond a shamed ex-prince. They impact the monarchy's core safety. We're discussing naturally Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the ex-prince, the ex-Duke of York, the individual who has been progressively deprived of his official roles and honors, but crucially remains the sibling of the current sovereign, King Charles III. The uproar enveloping Andrew, a person who has tried, maybe unwisely, to slip into the secluded anonymity of royalage, has just flared up again with a dazzling, searing force. A fresh collection of records and images, carefully stored amid the judicial remnants of the Jeffrey Epstein disaster, has come to light. And one picture especially has triggered tremors not only within Buckingham Palace, but throughout the whole Commonwealth. Picture, if you can, a photo taken in harsh, relentless monochrome. It's not an informal shot of a family outing or an official likeness. It's a picture that conveys profound messages about authority, entitlement, and the alarming exemption from consequences relished by those at society's pinnacle. In the front, we observe the ex-Duke of York, Prince Andrew, positioned in a highly damaging and disconcerting manner. He is stretched out, lounged across, or possibly heaped upon at least 5 women. The particulars of the encounter are troubling in themselves, indicating a severe absence of proper demeanor, respect, or self-control, especially for a high-ranking royal. But the real terror, the element that elevates this from simple controversy to a disastrous threat to the establishment, lies in the backdrop. Positioned noticeably, watching the event with an eerie, recognizable grin on her face, is Ghislaine Maxwell. Indeed, that Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted sex trafficker, the enabler, the accomplice in one of the era's most horrific offenses. The contrast is nauseating. A prominent British royal engaging in such activity while a notorious offender stands by, grinning like a maestro appreciating his ensemble. Now, let's focus on the claimed setting. Although the royal family has repeatedly portrayed Andrew's links to Epstein and Maxwell as occurrences distant, on luxury aircraft over Caribbean Isles or in New York estates, this new photo purportedly situates the sordid episode directly within the most treasured royal estate beyond London, Sandringham. Sandringham in Norfolk isn't just a residence. It's a symbol of the British monarchy's endurance. It's the spot where the royals customarily celebrate Christmas, where late Queen Elizabeth II gave her touching holiday addresses, and where she treasured her personal moments. The revelation that Ghislaine Maxwell, now widely associated with exploitation and moral depravity, was not only invited to the royal family's most private estate at Sandringham, but appeared to witness or be part of dubious social scenes involving the Queen's son, has intensified this scandal beyond previous expectations. It underscores a level of closeness and possible unspoken tolerance toward this troubling network that the royal household has long sought to downplay. The long-standing official position has emphasized separation, portraying Andrew's connection to Epstein as a mere acquaintance born of poor judgment. Yet this newly surfaced photograph, taken in the intimate saloon room of Sandringham, a space traditionally reserved for family gatherings like Christmas tea and viewing the monarchs, message directly contradicts claims of detachment by placing these associations within the heart of the family's secluded retreat. The short-term repercussions of this image's release are evident, but the longer-term risks are far graver, especially regarding the financial security of the now disgraced former royal. Royal analysts have increasingly highlighted a concern long murmured in elite circles: That Andrew, facing mounting economic strain and total isolation from public life, could turn to selling insider information about the monarchy. Esteemed commentators Samara Gill and Cameron Walker, in a recent discussion on The Sun's Royal Exclusive show, offered a candid assessment that serves as a clear caution to King Charles and the institution. Gill captured the unease succinctly. "I'm thinking that as more and more comes out, he will be more privy to be sharing things about the royal family and trading secrets for cash. This is no mere conjecture. It reflects Andrew's vulnerable circumstances. A figure once accustomed to extraordinary privilege and protection now finds himself isolated, financially vulnerable, and viewed by the public as irredeemably compromised. The incentive to capitalize on his vast reservoir of private knowledge accumulated over decades at the core of the crown grows irresistible. King Charles faces a delicate balancing act. He has appropriately acted to safeguard the monarchy's reputation by removing his brother from any public role, barring use of the His Royal Highness style officially, revoking military honors and patronages, a deep personal blow for someone who valued his service record and effectively rendering him invisible within the royal framework. Yet, as Cameron Walker observed, Andrew's situation is unique among fallen public figures. Despite losing titles, he remains the king's brother and reportedly the late queen's favorite son. This blood tie creates an inherent dilemma. Andrew is still family, embedded in the firm with access to confidential conversations, family intricacies, and historical insights that could inflict lasting harm if disclosed, especially amid ongoing debates over the monarchy's role, expenses, and past. Walker issued a sobering alert about the primary risk: financial desperation driving disloyalty. He warned that fully withdrawing support, cutting off funds, and evicting him from the expansive 30-room Royal Lodge could backfire, leaving a bitter, impoverished relative in possession of explosive material. This could pose the greatest internal challenge to the institution since the 1936 abdication. Consider the depth of Andrew's insider perspective. As child of the longest-serving monarch, he witnessed pivotal events, private discussions, and familial tensions over years. He holds figurative and possibly literal and royal lore secrets. Should he pursue a memoir, paid interviews, or discreet dealings with media or others? The consequences could be profound, though such extremes remain speculative for now. In essence, the monarchy navigates a precarious path, protecting its future while managing a toxic yet inseparable family member amid renewed scrutiny from these Epstein-related revelations. Consequences of any such disclosures would dwarf even Prince Harry's recent memoir, making it seem like a mild social chat. The risks are enormous, potentially exposing details about the Crown Estate's finances, the late Queen's private views on political leaders, sensitive information about other royals' personal missteps, and most critically, additional evidence of his own connections to the Epstein circle, which the palace has long sought to downplay. Let's pause to consider the profound damage caused by this newly released photograph linked to Sandringham. The estate is typically seen as a picturesque symbol of traditional royal heritage, where the family traditionally assembles each Christmas, representing enduring tradition and family unity. The idea that Ghislaine Maxwell, a convicted sex trafficker, was hosted there and seen socializing with the Queen's son in an atmosphere suggesting impropriety severely undermines the monarchy's most private sanctuary. The royal institution has long maintained that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were mere outsiders who briefly entered Prince Andrew's circle through a lapse in judgment, without ever penetrating the heart of the monarchy. If confirmed images show Maxwell as an accepted guest at Sandringham, one of the family's most secluded and guarded residences, that narrative falls apart completely. It implies Andrew's ties were not simply an error, but a deeply embedded aspect of his lifestyle, one he introduced straight into the core of the royal world. This explains the intense focus on the ongoing situation at Royal Lodge. For more than a year, King Charles III has been carefully but persistently urging Andrew to leave the property. Royal Lodge, a grand home in Windsor Great Park, has been Andrew's residence since 2003 under a lengthy lease, though its upkeep costs are exorbitant, running into millions. Charles recognizes he cannot forcibly remove his brother without sparking a major PR crisis. and, worse, potentially provoking Andrew to reveal damaging family secrets as retaliation. Thus, the king finds himself in a bind largely created by his brother's actions. He must provide some ongoing financial assistance and a degree of preserved status to keep Andrew silent and isolated. Yet every pound directed toward Andrew requires accountability to the public and taxpayers, who are understandably outraged that someone who paid a reported multi-million-pound civil settlement to Virginia Giuffre, payment that avoided any liability admission, but clearly signaled serious issues, still enjoys a heavily subsidized lavish lifestyle. The public perception is appalling. A disgraced figure divested of his honors, yet occupying a vast estate whose maintenance burdens the crown significantly. Amid a severe cost of living crisis in the UK, this latest photograph reportedly connecting him to Maxwell at Sandringham only intensifies outrage and renders Charles's challenging stance almost impossible to defend. How can the king rationally continue allocating millions to support a brother whose history keeps yielding ever more harmful revelations? To understand Andrew's current vulnerability, it's worth reviewing the key events of his dramatic decline. For many years, he was regarded as the Queen's favored son, a decorated Falklands veteran, the Duke of York, who retained a prominent role in royal duties despite his troubled marriage to Sarah Ferguson. He served as the UK's special representative for international trade and investment, a position that brought him into contact with global elites and, unfortunately, high-profile figures like Jeffrey Epstein. His association with Epstein began in the late 1990s. Andrew has always insisted he was oblivious to Epstein's crimes, even after the latter's 2008 conviction. The 2010 image of Andrew walking with Epstein in Central Park while after Epstein's offender status marked the first significant erosion of his image. The real turning point came in November 2019, however, with his BBC Newsnight interview conducted by Emily Maitlis, meant as a chance to vindicate himself. The appearance became a monumental disaster. Andrew's answers struck many as detached, evasive, and lacking compassion. He cited a medical condition from his Falklands service to explain why he couldn't sweat during an alleged incident, a claim widely viewed as odd and irrelevant. He offered no remorse or sympathy for Epstein's victims, regretting only his own misjudgment in sustaining the friendship. The backlash was swift and overwhelming. Shortly after, prominent companies and organizations distanced themselves from the Duke. The mounting backlash grew so intense that Queen Elizabeth II had to step in personally. In early 2020, Prince Andrew officially withdrew from all royal duties. This was followed by a civil lawsuit from Virginia Giuffre, who claimed she'd been trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein and coerced into sexual encounters with Andrew while underage. He strongly rejected these claims, though the potential legal risks were enormous. In January 2022, with a high-profile trial looming that could have severely damaged the monarchy, Andrew was permanently relieved of his military honors and the right to use the His Royal Highness style. This marked his complete exclusion from public royal life. A month later, he agreed to an out-of-court settlement with Giuffre for an undisclosed figure, often estimated around £12 million. Although this avoided a trial and any sworn testimony from him, it failed to convince the public of his innocence. Questions quickly emerged about the source of such a large payment. Did Andrew cover it alone, or did the royal institution contribute, possibly from the late Queen's personal resources? The lack of transparency only heightened public anger. It is within this context of financial strain, legal disgrace, and social isolation that the recent photograph, along with stark warnings from royal commentators like Cameron Walker, must be understood. Andrew finds himself in a vulnerable position, having forfeited his career, prestige, and standing. What remains is his intimate knowledge of the inner workings and history of the House of Windsor. The ongoing situation with Royal Lodge highlights King Charles's urgent efforts to contain his brother's unpredictability. Reports indicate Charles has proposed more modest and affordable residences for Andrew, such as Frogmore Cottage, previously occupied by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, to cut costs and lessen any financial support from the crown. Yet Andrew has resisted firmly, seeing Royal Lodge as an entitlement and a stronghold. His determination to stay is not mere obstinacy. It serves as influence. By staying defiant amid ongoing money troubles, He maintains a capacity to unsettle the royal establishment, each new image released from the Epstein documents, or any emerging testimony intensifies the demands on King Charles to take firm action. However, fully severing ties, exactly what some analysts caution against, could trigger what they describe as a drastic escalation. Walker's observation that Andrew remained the late Queen's favored son, even after her passing, holds considerable relevance. This dynamic implies Andrew received exceptional leniency during her lifetime. He might perceive Charles's stricter approach as a disloyalty to their mother's legacy, fostering a feeling of betrayal that could justify, in his mind, disclosing family confidences. Consider the possibility. Andrew, burdened by escalating expenses and a ruined reputation, isolated in the expansive halls of Royal Lodge, a lucrative proposal arrives perhaps from an American broadcaster or publisher offering millions for his candid account of the monarchy. For someone who has lost so much, it could appear as both economic salvation and retribution against the family he feels deserted him. The recently surfaced Sandringham photograph, showing Ghislaine Maxwell smiling in the background, acts as a painful reminder to the royals that the controversy persists and remains uncontained. It is an ongoing issue producing damaging revelations, endangering the institution's image with each disclosure. Public confidence in the royal family, especially among traditionalists who prize propriety, is precarious on this matter. They demand impeccable ethical standards from the monarch's close relatives. The contrast between Andrew's continued comfortable living and reminders of his alleged past misconduct erodes the core respect. Sustaining the monarchy, King Charles III thus confronts a daunting challenge in crisis management. He needs to quiet and steady his brother without seeming to condone misconduct. He must balance perceptions of compassion with upholding rigorous institutional principles. One frequently mentioned option among experts is a discreet private arrangement, perhaps a significant lump sum payment from Charles, in return for Andrew committing to a comprehensive, unbreakable non-disclosure agreement encompassing all his insights into the royal family's affairs, both historical and current. This approach, while expensive and ethically questionable, essentially secures his compliance through payment. Yet it could be the sole method to protect the monarchy from the looming danger of a comprehensive expose. That said, a non-disclosure agreement holds only as much power as the judicial system enforces, and Andrew has a history of making catastrophic choices. Should he violate such a pact, the ensuing courtroom drama would prove far more sensational than the original risk. The appearance of this recent photograph, purportedly captured at Sandringham, fundamentally alters the dynamics. It shifts the controversy from the margins of Andrew's personal affairs to the heart of the monarchy's long-standing and territorial sanctity. It compels scrutiny. To what extent was the royal establishment aware? And at what point did they learn of Andrew's perilous connections? The sight of Ghislaine Maxwell grinning in what should be the family sanctuary symbolizes the encroachment and tainting of the royal sphere by society's most corrupt influences. It underscores how Prince Andrew's personal conduct and his official royal duties dangerously overlapped, frequently converging in the most private family settings. The urgency now intensifies for Charles to reach a definitive resolution about Royal Lodge if Andrew persists in refusing to relocate, and if further photographic disclosures surface, the king might have to weigh the monarchy's enduring fiscal stability against the pressing hazard of his siblings' potential revelations. That predicament is worsened by Andrew's apparent absence of contrition. Although he voiced sorrow over the association, he has never openly recognized the trauma endured by Epstein's survivors, steadfastly asserting his blamelessness in the face of accusations. This position, prudent from a legal standpoint, offends public sensibilities and portrays any discreet handling by Charles as an attempt to conceal the truth. The king has to navigate between preserving family privacy and the insistent societal call for responsibility and fairness. Moreover, the steady release of details from the Epstein documents guarantees that this narrative endures. Every fresh file or image drags Andrew back under the glare, no matter the elapsed time. This persistent press attention keeps Andrew's economic circumstances precarious, as no reputable entity or firm would risk associating with him, given the tarnish to their image. This loop of controversy, societal fury, Economic isolation and ensuing desperation heightens the credibility and gravity of his threat to disclose confidences. Instances of a royal kin betraying confidences for monetary benefit are rare historically. However, in today's interconnected online era, the repercussions would be catastrophic. Unlike the abdication scandal, which was contained via regulated media, any disclosure from Andrew would spread worldwide in moments, magnified by online platforms, indelibly imprinting a tally of deceit and suppression in collective memory. The grandeur and extravagance of Royal Lodge perpetually highlight the gap between Andrew's fall from grace and his sustained affluence. It represents an emblem that King Charles must urgently deconstruct to convey a streamlined, contemporary, and ethically responsible monarchy. Nevertheless, relocating Andrew carries prohibitive expenses if it results in unveiling the monarchy's confidential matters to the top bidder. This newest image, with its claimed Sandringham link and the grinning Ghislaine Maxwell, compels Charles to act decisively. He cannot afford to linger for Andrew's voluntary cooperation. The king must now devise a plan that offers sufficient monetary motivation to ensure Andrew's discretion, while also signaling to the populace that the fallen duke faces severe repercussions for his deeds. This represents perhaps the toughest equilibrium King Charles III has encountered in his nascent rule. The monarchy's stability hinges on his ability to defuse at this peril. Failure could resonate across eras, possibly hastening discussions on the monarchy's viability in the UK and Commonwealth nations. The depiction of the ex-Duke of York reclining over 5 women under the oversight of a convicted sex offender, supposedly at the Queen's treasured sanctuary, visually captures the ethical decay the monarchy is urgently striving to eradicate. It is an instance calling for not merely intervention, but openness, something the royal family has traditionally found challenging to deliver. Society is observing, anticipating whether the king favors safeguarding the institution or true responsibility. What are your thoughts on this extraordinary circumstance? Dear audience, do you think King Charles III ought to fully sever ties with Prince Andrew, chancing the exposure of ruinous family confidences? Or is it necessary for him to persist in funding his siblings' opulent existence to preserve quiet? Should Royal the King taxpayers keep on who is truly financing efforts to suppress this profound risk to the monarchy? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments section below. We carefully review each and every one of your insightful responses. Thanks for sticking with us through this in-depth exploration of the persistent challenges confronting the British royal family. If this breakdown struck you as engaging and eye-opening, don't forget to hit the like button on this video and pass it along to others who appreciate unfiltered insights into the monarchy. We'll keep a close eye on developments as additional revelations from the Epstein documents continue to surface. See you in the next one. Stay safe and let the facts come to light. 32,000 touches at 79.